Hello. Has it really been 8 days? It has been. I guess so. It looks like my last post was on the 17th. I'm really not good at being this consistent thing, but who am I, you may ask? I am the Saverings of V-Gaming. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for the support on my last video. I think I'm up to like 160, 150 views on there. I believe that video was called Things Ponies Say. Thanks for that. I really appreciate it. I got 21 views on my viral little meme I made here on the on Twitter, you know, at V-Gaming. Thanks for joining me over there as well, where I'm supposed to be posting all of my announcements when I post videos and stuff here on YouTube every 8 days, apparently. But you know what, though? I felt like all the other YouTubers were saying all the things that I wanted to say, so I felt like I didn't have anything to say or add to that. But I guess now I have a few things. I do have other few things. I'll probably think of it the second I turn off the recording here. But we'll make this kind of short and sweet. A couple things that kind of jumped at me. This one is from today. I'm actually pretty proud of this meme here. After careful consideration, Warner Brothers kills Wonder Woman title and shutters 3 studios in a cost-cutting move. You know, not surprising. Warner Brothers is one of the worst-run companies that there will probably ever be. There's a reason why they were bought and sold 3 times since, 2000? AOL bought them. You guys remember AOL? Some of you watching this video don't remember AOL. But they were one of the big first pioneers in, like, being an ISP, Internet Service Provider. When those were still kind of like newish and kind of finding their legs, AOL was kind of the bigger one, and only because they spammed. See, kids, back in the day, to get AOL, it wasn't a broadband or an always-on connection like there is now. Your internet connection went over your phone line, and programs weren't easily downloadable yet because everything was over your phone line, and the internet wasn't just always on. You had to connect to it manually over your phone line. So what AOL would do is they would have these CD-ROMs. You guys know what CD-ROMs are, kids? They had these CD-ROMs that they would just spam everywhere. So they'd send them to you in the mail. They'd be at the grocery store. They'd be at like every electronics store. They'd be at all the video game stores. They'd be at your cookout. Like, they'd be everywhere, dude. They'd be at the checkout register at gas stations. And you would take this free AOL disc and you would take it home and you pop it in your CD-ROM player. You guys know what a CD-ROM player is, kids? You pop it in your CD-ROM player on your PC at home, and it would load up their program, their AOL program, and it would walk you through signing up for their service, and then you would plug your phone line into your modem, which would then plug into your computer. This part of it you guys might recognize. Your modem that you get from Xfinity or whatever, and then that plugs into your computer directly if it's right next to it, or it's like a Wi-Fi thing all in once, and that's what you connect to. So they kind of had that, but it was dial-up. It would go over your phone line. So AOL got really, really big in the 90s. They were huge, to the point where they turned around and they bought Warner Brothers. And Warner Brothers has been around since the 30s. Something like that. They own all the cool shit that Disney doesn't own. So they own Looney Tunes, they own DC, they own The Matrix, they own the movie and TV and video game rights to Harry Potter. They own so much stuff. All the cool shit that Disney doesn't own, it's mostly all Warner Brothers. Except for like Nickelodeon and stuff like that. So like no Star Trek, no SpongeBob and stuff like that. That's all CBS, Viacom, Nickelodeon, that whole mess over there. They're a big fat mess too. But the mess we're talking about today is Warner Brothers. So they got bought by AOL. Tell me a company that's like not even a decade old can turn around and buy a company that owns Looney Tunes and stuff that's been around for like 70, 80 years at that point. So that was the first sign. They had them for a while, and then Warner Brothers kind of like went back and as AOL diminished over the years, Warner Brothers kind of passed them, and so Warner Brothers ended up turning around and swallowing AOL back up into themselves, and then AOL just kind of went away because there was no market for AOL anymore. Fast forward to whenever AT&T bought them. When was that? 2017? 2018? Something like that, right? AT&T buys them, takes one look at the books and realizes what a mess it'll be to untangle all this stuff. And they turn around and sell them to Discovery networks. You know, like Discovery Channel and Discovery Channel and Discovery Channel. Warner Brothers owns like half the channels on cable. They own TNT, TBS, Turner Classic Movies, Cartoon Network for what that's worth anymore. The CW. Wait, what is it now? Is it still the CW? Yeah, it's still the CW now, right? Before that, it was WBTV and all that kind of stuff, the UPN and all that kind of stuff. So I say all that to say that Warner Brothers is bad. They're terrible at with controlling their IPs. They're terrible at monetizing their IPs. If it weren't for Batman and Superman, I think Warner Brothers would just be cooked like a long time ago. And they had this Warner Brothers, this Wonder Woman game they were working on. Who knows how that would have turned out? If you guys are familiar with the portrayal of Wonder Woman in the Sushi Squad game, it was awful. She admired Lex Luthor, and she was ugly. How you make Wonder Woman ugly, bro? But then again, that's a different time. You know, that was back in the. We won't get into that right now, but those that know what I'm talking about know it just ended, not just ended, but it's anyway. So I heard the Wonder Woman game was in trouble. Well, it obviously was. They canceled it. But I say all this to actually really point out that it doesn't surprise me that they're shutting this down. Discovery's trying to like consolidate and like clean up this mess. But the studio that jumps out at me, Monolith Productions. And for those that aren't familiar, Monolith has quite the history. They made the Condemned series of games back on the 360. They also made the Fear games. And fun fact, Monolith is based here locally in the greater Seattle area. They're based over in Kirkland, Washington. And I've actually worked for, not Monolith, but I worked for Warner Brothers Games previously. This was back in like 2008, 2009. Fun fact, John Wilesinski, who later of Bungie fame, who was in charge of the story over there. So those of you who've been playing Destiny 2 for the last 10 years and your story's been all up and down and it was good and it was bad and it was good and it was bad, he was the guy who was in charge of the writing for all that. Fast forward to last year, he was the character designer, the lead character designer for a little game some of you might have heard of watching this channel called Concord. Yeah, that was him. He was my lead at Warner Brothers Games. Got me fired over there on my day off, but that's a whole other story. But I worked there, and I'm actually in the credits for Fear 2. And I know Fear 2 is a really popular game. It's got a bit of a cult following. Yes, I worked on that game when I was over there. Had a really good experience generally overall at Warner Brothers Games. Fun fact, I was also the first tester that they hired over there when they were expanding, right after Warner Brothers had bought them. And I was the first Warner Brothers Games hire in the QA department over there. Yeah. Shout out to Andrew. Is it Andrew Shire? I cannot remember your last name, sir. But the good man over there who hired me. I had a good time over there. And so it's sad to see Monolith go. They have a pretty good track record. You know what? While I have you guys here, let's just look them up. Monolith Games. Yeah, Monolith Productions. Yeah, here they go. Video games. Get Medieval. I remember that. Shogo. You remember this game, Shogo? I remember this box. Get Medieval. I remember this game too. TNN Outdoors Pro Hunter. Alien vs. Predator 2. No One Lives Forever. Tron 2.0. Very good game. Very underrated game. Contract Jack. I remember this. The Matrix Online. Fear. Condemned Criminal Origins, which was a launch title for the 360, one of the better launch titles. Later reported to the PS3. Condemned 2. Fear 2 Project Origin. This is the one everyone remembers. Gotham City Imposters. Some of my friends who over there worked on that game. Middle Earth Shadow of Mordor. This was their last really big breakout, huge, big game. Some of you might remember this game. It was kind of really big at the time. Shadow of War, kind of, you know. And they already have it updated here. Wonder Woman canceled. And they also published some games too, but we won't worry about those. Did they also work on Oni? But yeah. So I worked for them, and they're going away because the video game industry is in for a reckoning, you guys. I don't know if you guys know this, but the video game industry is in for a bit of a reckoning. And there's going to be a video game crash. It won't be as severe as the Atari crash, with the ET cartridges and everything like that. But there will be some adjustments. These AAA budgets are out of control. People don't really care about those big AAA games anymore. You might be looking here on YouTube and you might be going through all the fandom and all the fanboy stuff, and people act like my graphics and my AAAs, but the vast majority of people don't even really mess with those games too much. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at what they are looking at. We're going to look at Matt Piscatellia over here on Blue Sky Social. There it is. This is pinned. This is from 12 days ago. Is there a newer one? Oh, wait. This is the one we're looking for. Let's see. 9 hours ago. He's got a new list on here. So this video will also be Pocket Watchers. So let's see. Look at all these games. Where do you see any of those big AAA graphics games? Here we are on PlayStation. We got Call of Duty. Yeah, that's like big and bulky and AAA, but Call of Duty runs on a potato. And yes, it's got the story, but no one buys Call of Duty for that. You buy it to like run around like an idiot and spray up your friends and yell at snipers for camping, even though that's what you do as a sniper. See, like Fortnite, Grand Theft Auto 5. Yes, that's a big blockbuster AAA game, but it's also like 12 years old at this point. 2K25, Marvel Rivals, Roblox, High on Life. This only shot up because it was part of that PSN Plus. Minecraft, Payday 3, also on the PSN Plus. Destiny 2. They must have had some new release or season. Apex Legends and Rocket League. That's on the PS5. Xbox, Call of Duty, Fortnite, Roblox, Grand Theft Auto, Rivals, Minecraft, Rainbow Six Siege, blah, blah, blah. See, like Forza Horizon 5. PC, Marvel Rivals, Counter-Strike, Helldivers, Monster Hunter Wilds, Balatro, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That's great to see. Okay. And this is kind of a my graphics game, but it just happens to have good graphics. It's not the be-all, end-all of that game. The be-all, end-all of this game is the open worldness and just the sandboxiness of it all. Rocket League, Destiny 2, Warframe, Civ 7, Baldur's Gate, Path of Exile, Rust. It's good to see Team Fortress 2 floating around out here. Yeah, did you guys see the thing about Team Fortress 2? We'll save that for another video, but basically they bundled up all the things in Team Fortress 2 and released it as its own SDK. So now you can like do anything you want to with Team Fortress 2. It still has to pass through their approval process, but you could take Team Fortress 2, just the game, and turn the critical hits on for everyone and rebundle it and just call it Team Fortress 2 Criticals. And in theory, that should make it onto the store. So you can have your own version of Team Fortress 2 with just all the criticals on. You can do all kind of goofy things now. I think that's really cool. I think they're opening that up so someone can make Team Fortress 3 for them. And then Dota 2. I was just watching Dota 2 videos today. But here's your top 15 for PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Steam by total numbers of players for a week. Not total peak concurrent players, but total number of people who have played these games in a week. I think it's funny you see Helldivers 2, a PlayStation game, number 3 on Steam, and it's not even on PlayStation's own list. I also saw this thing that talked about Wukong. Wukong sold 25 million copies, right? 80% of them were sold in China. Something like that. And there's what's left, the other 20% to be sold over here, right? Only 5 million copies total were sold on PlayStation 5. All the rest were either in China. All the rest were on PC, and 80% of those PC sales were in China, which is kind of crazy. Which makes sense. It's a Chinese developed game and stuff like that. But you figured it took the world by storm over here, but that was a drop in the bucket compared to where it's sold overseas. And the PlayStation only accounted for 5 million out of that 20 million sold, out of 75 million units sold for PlayStation 5. Pretty crazy. But anyway, I'm going to end it here because we're past the 10-minute mark. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate all y'all. Peace out.